Cool. Okay, welcome to AI Talks episode 3. And today is a very, very exciting episode. We have Yemil Martinez with us today. Thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Perfect, perfect. Of course, of course. And well, today is a very, very niche episode for me, especially because we're going to be doing AI and marketing. And I think this is a great chance to talk to someone who has 20 plus years of marketing experience and very, very different opinions in marketing and different, perspectives in where this is going to go and how we bring value in marketing for all the different channels that there is now. And I just want to I want to first thank you, Mill, for hopping on today on the pod. Thank you so
No,
much.
thank you so much. I'm really excited to talk about this. Obviously, as a marketer with 20 plus years in the industry and such, it's a really remarkable time. It's a scary time. It's a frustrating time. It's also an extraordinary time. Seeing what AI is doing specifically for marketing. There's a lot of things that people are talking about, but it's really around marketing where you're seeing AI just flood all aspects of marketing processes, creative, content, distribution. It's really changing the nature of the work and kind of the expectations for folks on it. So it's a really powerful topic when people talk about Gen AI and what it's impacting enterprises today. And marketing, I think, is really that tip of the iceberg. It's where people are starting to show immediate impact, but yet there's still so much to learn. So
Yes,
great topic.
100% I agree.
Mm.
But what a time right now it is. And I think we're just entering that time. So I think this is a great way to kind of, I mean, I don't really see too many sources out there. I mean, there are probably a good amount of sources talking about, people that are trying to get into the field, people that are trying to understand what's going on. And I think that we're definitely going to address a lot of those concepts today. And I'm very excited to do that.
Great.
But yes, but before we do that, we got to do our segment here. This is a little segment that we've been doing for a couple of podcasts. We do just basically what are some examples of AI that you've used this past week? And I'm gonna go ahead and start. I know last week was Storm AI. I'm gonna give them another shout out for I mean it's an AI made by Stanford, and it is a very, very useful AI when you want to kind of get all your information in one PDF, one document, and also have sources. So basically, what it is if you go onto Storm AI, you can prompt any kind of idea, any kind of topic, and it'll take that topic, it'll research on all the articles you can find from Google, and it'll take a full reconstruction of those and put it into a nice 3 to 4 page PDF for you. So you can, look at that, look at the sources as well, really understand that concept or that topic. And I've done it for agentic AI, I've done it for generative AI, I've done it for AI and marketing, I've done it for some marketing concepts as well. So if you want to really brush up and kind of save your time, which is what we're all trying to do at the end of the day, I feel like. But if you really want to save your time, I think that's a great tool to use. And this week has definitely been CapCut for me, and I'm definitely going to talk about that more extensively in as we get through this podcast. But there are a lot of AI tools that definitely help me save time, and um, definitely don't take away from the creativity that I'm also making my content with. And yeah, I think those are my big two today for this week. And then I'll pass it over to you, Emil.
No, that's great. That's really interesting. And, I think you mentioned a key point. This is something in terms of the tools that I use today. And I think that's a big part. We dive into this subject with marketing and AI is that it actually doesn't take away from your creativity. So for me, like diving into Chat GPT, I don't even know how many times daily over the past week, Canva, Adobe's, also AI tools to help generate a couple of creative pieces is that in the end, I'm directing them towards those creative and content items that I already have in mind that I want to really see captured and developed and shaping them to the best quality possible. That's really the value that I've had just this week and diving into some of those tools to help me take my vision and kind of get them to where I want to, at least to a certain point.
Right.
that's, I think, is a key things in these items that we're just talking about and using every day this week.
Right. Perfect. No, I think we all try to use as much as we can, but I think when it comes to especially like ChatGPT, I think nothing really beats that. I think there's a lot of things you can kind of get across now. I mean, if you do have like the pro models and all that kind of stuff, I think for me, what's huge is like I did start to do captions with AI um with ChatGPT, but I did find out that doing that for a couple of weeks that it was I mean you can prompt ChatGPT and say, can you give me a human-like response? But I think that doesn't really get across in a way. There are still like certain things that I can do and I can kind of articulate that ChatGPT is not going to do. And I figured out that a lot of captions that do get a lot of comments and do get a lot of engagement are the ones that I make. And yeah, just like kind of nuanced things that only I would do. Like sometimes I kind of experimenting with like using all lowercase in my captions, kind of keeping it like a subtle tone, right? Because if you see like Duolingo and all these big marketing, big Instagram pages that are like the blueprint for all of us, right? It's all just you know kind of inside jokes and like subtle captions. So I'm trying to like take a piece from that. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to get into the creative aspects of marketing with AI in the future. But I do want to give the floor over to Yumil for a little background introduction. Um, yeah, go ahead.
Just the general, began my career again 20 some years ago. And I think in that time, working for a number of different industries, everything from healthcare to finance to media to information technology, telecommunications, and now AI, has allowed me to kind of see a huge transition in marketing across industries, across media, across channels, and to be here today to kind of talk about how things have come along. Again, I began my career right around '99, and what that was really the advent, the launch, what is today the World Wide Web. We take that for granted all these years later, but at that point, as it was starting to arise, and the companies that began to come alive were the ones that were beginning to take advantage of digital. People from that time will remember things called brick and mortar. Well, that was the competition between traditional companies that hadn't yet moved to the web versus those that were becoming digital first. Now it becomes the question of who's AI first, right?
Right.
So, it's kind of interesting as someone who has been primarily a digital marketer all these years in all these different industries to see this transition, but it's a cycle. And all it is just a new leap in technology that's really changing the game in a lot of ways. So, have some perspective in seeing that now, all of these years across my entire career. So looking forward to kind of dive into it, talk about that more.
Perfect. So did you? So I'm just curious. Did you kind of anticipate the same kind of um the same kind of like boom with AI, and that's why you got into AI, or how did you get into AI?
Well, it was kind of a combination. The transition into AI, and especially today, we talk a lot about Gen AI. Is the reality is that AI has been around quite a bit and has already been slowly making their way into different platforms, marketing tool sets, or what have you. Go now 10 years, really. It's just they were a number of different mechanics, different preset rules, different functions, more often automating around process and procedure, just ensuring that things were launched when they needed to be launched without someone actively managing that process. So those tool sets were already entering the marketplace, and marketers, especially digital marketers, were diving into those tool sets very quickly. Right? How to automate our ad scheduling, big thing. How to automate our content distributions, big things. Journey development and building, being able to set up those automations to ensure that communications go out at certain times. So all of these things affecting everything from demand generation to advertising to, again, social media marketing, because volume has become such a critical part of marketing
Right.
that teams of even significant size still have difficulty being able to generate enough to fill all of their channels across everything that they're doing.
Right.
So for me, it was seeing the tools arise, being involved in that, and then all of a sudden, the desire for business to really launch forward into taking advantage of what AI can do. What I see that is very similar to the launch of the web really becoming very public in the late 90s and early 2000s is again who's very lean. So we could say a startup mentality, but I don't believe company size necessarily dictates that. It really is a lean attitude, one
Yeah.
who's willing to be creative about change, willing
Yeah.
to take chances with that. That was what we saw between the brick and mortars versus digital first, is that companies were realizing that we can do a lot with these tool sets right now, right out of the gate, versus trying to slowly move the business over. And so I
Yeah.
think that's happening again, is you're seeing companies that are really diving into AI first and taking advantage of that, incorporating new tools that are becoming heavily used daily, versus those that are still a wait and see kind of approach. And I think one thing to kind of remember, what eventually everyone learns from 20 so years ago in digital arising, is that, again, while there is always significant cost, the cost in terms of being able to stand up some of these tools are going to be far less than often the human resources necessary to do
Yeah.
the same thing, in probably less time, and less efficiently, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because again, what the tool sets can do can really take a lot of the preparation and effort to figure out what you have to get done.
Right.
They're able to take great knowledge and deep data and information and help you to set that up exactly how you want to.
Right.
So it's incredible to see that cycle and to see what's happening now, and which companies are diving in to take advantage of it. And I think a lot of marketers are making that transition, but a lot of different ways. Again, according to their perspective, whether it's being a digital marketer who's really taking advantage of tool sets to help them across those digital channels, a brand manager who's really looking to ensure that their brand is properly followed across a multitude of materials or items. Demand generation, who wants to ensure that they're tracking all of that activity properly across their accounts or across individuals, however, and being able to automate responses and reactions, and able to set up their point of contact. It's just again that evolution of our roles. I don't think it's destroying it. It's just simply it's evolving, and what we're doing is becoming super editors, being
Right.
able to manage all these unique and complex tools to be able to get us the output that we want.
Right. That's a lot of information to take in,
Yeah.
but I definitely love that. I think a lot of good points there, and I do want to ask, do you have any kind of companies that you see that have implemented AI to your liking, to saying, okay, that company did it right. Like this AI boom has came in now, and I mean, obviously with the dot-com boom, there's been companies that have taken that on very well as well. But has there been a company that you've seen that has really taken AI in their marketing and done it right?
No.
Oh,
Because I think
okay.
it's too early. I think it's really too early in terms of
Okay.
that. I remember recently seeing one major brand released an all AI ad. And I
Okay.
remember watching it, and I remember, seeing it, and I won't say recent, but it was at a sports event.
Okay.
And I remember seeing kind of feedback and what have you. And the reality is, and I think this is something, it isn't just because of the screens or what have you, the technology. It's that the human eye can still very much catch on the elements of AI. We start to
Yep.
notice it. We complain about it in terms of the subtleties of certain things that are very hard to pick up. But when you see a full creative that is purely AI generative, there is always something that stands out. And I think that's still going to be a question of, is like, how perfect can perfect be?
Yep.
because I think perfect is a real human experience. It's
Yes.
not something that is so extraordinary that we're going to believe that that's possible. No, we are grounded in our own human awareness, and so has businesses really figured that out? No, because I think the divide right now is a lot of companies are pushing for a lot of AI and to take over a lot of things, where other companies are still trying to figure out what is the real human element in managing the AI to effectively convey things and use AI to be that much more creative, that much more efficient, that much more responsive than simply, oh, I can create a very shiny, creative piece. But people can recognize it's like, yeah, but it's AI
Right.
rather than something that speaks to the human experience.
Right.
Um,
100%. 100% I agree.
Yeah, so
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 if
it's
you,
hard for me to pick just one because when
right.
I see it, it's like if I recognize it, then that might not be the best response. I don't want to recognize
Right.
AI in it. I want to see great marketing, great communication, great storytelling.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Well, there have been so many advancements now in AI. And I won't even say from the past couple of months even, and now I mean with like Google VO and with Sora and with all these image generators, I think that yeah, it is too early to be taking in those two like Sora and VO, especially to making like all AI commercial. I do think that like you said companies that are both taking that in and not taking it in, they're both doing the right thing because
Right,
there's still a good amount of time until I think that we can genuinely say is that really AI, is it not? Like there needs to be like some kind of credible source about how it was made. But until that day comes, that's right. I think companies that are either deciding to completely implement or not implement these AI tools are both in the right. I mean, depends on exactly like their and the you know where this company is in the market and what kind of products they're putting out and how how lean they can be about it. Right.
right, right.
Right.
And a key thing with this is obviously there's a lot of experimentation going on. As we all play around with these tools, we're trying to figure out how effective they are, how advanced they are, and what have you. One of the things that about taking advantage of these tool sets and playing around with them is that I've begun to do something that I did way back when in just playing around with multiple keyword searches and trying to see how things change when I input different keywords to see kind of the responses and reaction, what have you. Very simple, basic, but it's reiterating to try to
Right.
see what kind of reaction responses you're getting to be able to determine what's going to be of use and value to you.
Right.
I've been experimenting a lot with that in ChatGPT and other prompts, and just trying to reiterate these prompts and seeing what the output is, and then taking the output and reiterating them and seeing how that changes and shapes it, so that I can find those elements that I think are going to be most useful for the creative project I'm working on, versus just simply taking that output and using it outright as it is. And so I think today now is that time of experimentation.
Yep.
It's a time for marketers to become familiar with these tool sets, to reiterate, to kind of take their ideations and use these platforms to help them to expand beyond what they normally would see, but then really put it through the rigors of seeing how valuable that one output is. I don't think one is enough. I think that is where the human element comes in, is that we're actually looking across all of these and finding what looks and feels best for that marketing goal.
Right. No, no, I completely agree. I think that yeah, it will when we come to experimentation, there's gonna be one kind of incredible like someone's gonna experiment really well with something in AI, and they're gonna create something crazy that will probably be like taken over by the industry. Like people are gonna start copying this kind of trend, right? And I think what do you think that would be? I mean, when it comes to, I mean, that's a very general question, but I do want to kind of get into like what I mean. Let's talk about AI in social media. If we talk about creating posts, creating reels, creating content, do you see AI starting a trend in that space and then taking over?
I think in terms of the velocity, especially in social media, it helps. One of the big things about social media is obviously there is a lot of response. There is, again, what we put out there and people reacting and responding to it, and in turn, what we can then respond back.
Yeah.
And that creates obviously what a lot of marketers hope for is a great deal of engagement. But how do you keep that going, rather than doing a one-off kind of post or campaign, however any elements that might exist there, how you're able to create individual engagement with all of those accounts that are responding and reacting to what you're putting out there.
Right.
I think that's where AI is going to help to really scale that ability to respond to a lot of the back and forth that occurs on social media, help to properly inform and provide information that, unless someone is being very vigilant and being there, able to respond in a moment, it can take a lot of time. And on social media, time becomes a problem. You want to
Right.
be able to respond quickly and accurately when a reaction occurs. Otherwise, it's a lost opportunity.
Right.
So there's no doubt that AI helps to increase that velocity for reaction and responsiveness that a human team just is going to be limited to do.
Yes.
But you're able to help develop a brand responsiveness, something that has the tone, has the necessary information to react and respond as your social accounts begins to get those reactions, is a huge win, and
Yeah.
a benefit. So that, I think, is going to be a big factor for social media.
Perfect. No, I couldn't agree more. Time, like just like you said, time is very, very important. It's very useful to be quick to things in social media because we
Mhm.
were moving like this in
Yeah.
social, like every day. Some kind of some news, like I remember like when DeepSeek first came out,
Mhm.
that was literally, I read the article in the morning, and by the afternoon my entire feed for that Instagram was entirely DeepSeek. Every single thing was there. I didn't even have to search it up now to find content.
Mhm.
And it's not even about who's first. It's genuinely about, like, just putting something out there first.
And you can
So
imagine the speed with when the many businesses and individuals were then quickly reacting and responding to everything that was out there to that.
yeah,
That's how AI can help in terms of these news trends or any type of trends that occurs on these networks, is to be able to develop a response so that you're able to capture that awareness that is now obviously building up in the feeds.
yeah,
So, for a lot of businesses that have something that and want to be able to respond, that's where that AI can definitely help them to jump into
yeah,
that effectively without waiting to develop something and then putting a response after the
yeah,
trend is starting to die off.
right.
So I can imagine like how many of those in your feed by the end of the day were those who were generating their responses and reactions with AI to help them get out there as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think it was already fast to begin with before AI. Before we even had AI, it was already
Right.
fast. Something would happen, and then you would be like, you would have like probably what, 2 3 days. Now I feel like it could genuinely be like the day of. You got to figure it out,
Yes.
and you got to get some kind of understanding about how you're going to use AI to put it out, and just put it out. I think um there are two, like, exactly like how I said earlier. CapCut can take a huge form of like a podcast or a video or something from YouTube that you want to clip up, and it can take that, and it'll make shorts, or it'll make short form content from that source immediately. You just put it into the software, you press like one button, it'll take probably like 10 minutes, and it'll make you like 10 videos. Are the videos good? Not at all. But they are incredibly well, like, because they have like, for a short form, right? If you're doing like a podcast, you want to make sure you have all the people in the frame. It'll do that for you. It'll
Hmm.
edit two entire rows of that same content. It'll put the auto captions up there for you. It'll have a topic. It'll have, a kind of section off of like what's being talked about. And it's all done in 10 minutes by AI. It's incredible how fast you can put out content. Um,
When I think about that, it's not the process is not new. The first thing that any serious marketer would do is like, okay, I've created this great video. They spent who knows how much to create their first significant video, and then they say, all right, now I want to create something for Instagram, Facebook, what have you. Now they're spending multiple man hours to try to edit it out. So the process is understood. And that's the great thing about AI. They understood the need that if we've got some piece of long form content, video, imagery, what have you, what can I do to create it for these other channels? It takes that effort out of it. So like it
Yeah.
cuts down tremendous amount of time that would take to edit properly. But like you
Yeah.
said, is the quality quite right? And that's where the human step comes in. You as the editor have to ensure that, all right, I know exactly which question and topic I want to discuss and where the endpoint should be. And so you shape that until you massage that to be what is the better engaging content.
Exactly.
I don't think AI is there yet exactly,
Yeah.
but that is what our role is in taking advantage of these tools, is that it saves us the time to do what you just described, cut it down to just a few short minutes, where
Yep.
before I would have one or two people editing videos and cutting it down into those kind of clips, then
Yes.
reviewing it, editing it further, and
Yes.
then preparing it for output. Now
Yep.
it's done in less than an hour.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. It's done. I think just the technical part of it, right? And then exactly like you said, there are things like I mean, we do have agentic AI coming out that I feel like will take this over in the future. Because if you do give it kind of, I mean, now is doing reservations for dinners, but I mean, I feel like down the line, it's just when it comes to taking that long form content, putting it into that short form content, you want to make sure that okay, why do I want to put this out? Like why what can I take from this short form content that exemplifies our brand and that can help, whatever the goal is that may be. That may be like clients to the website, or that might
mhm.
be, clients to buy your product, or that might be just literally views, right? So engagement, but what have you. So I think yeah, until that point does happen, and who knows when that point will happen. It can happen soon, it can happen tomorrow, it can happen in 5 years.
Right.
We just need to, be aware of it. Perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, yeah. So I'm also curious about your kind of experiences in the .com area. And I do want to ask you, if you had the AI tools that you had today, what exactly would you use them for back in the back when you were doing
Back in the back long enough. I give one great example.
perfect.
There was an event production company I worked for, and again, this was in the aughts. So it was a time when they were just transitioning, believe it or not. And today, now conferences are very digitized. So much their registration, their catalog of a calendar of event activities, all of that. Prior was print brochures that would be sent out, faxes, some emails. But I joined this organization, and they produced hundreds of events a year. And what I launched with them was a blog network,
Yeah.
late aughts and what have you. And at that time, I was a one man band where I was writing a blog daily. At that point, I reached about 30 individual blogs
Oh wow.
for about 30 events, all distinct topics, everything from finance, marketing, healthcare, pharma, all distinct and very specific topics within those industries, all around, again, these very unique and great conferences. And I was one man writing all of these blogs on a daily basis to,
Right.
again, generate content, to generate SEO for these events and what have you. If
Right.
I had AI back then to help me to scale and iterate
Yeah.
that much content, I couldn't be more happier.
Okay.
That was a very time consuming, very difficult, very hands-on time of developing, creating content. The our early days of social media, early days of LinkedIn, of Twitter, X today. So that being able to take advantage of it was a very, very manual process.
Right.
So again, AI has really shown its value as it's evolved all these years. Because again, one of the first things it did was to help to automate scheduling and being able to set rules around scheduling.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference because again, when I was developing these types of marketing programs, none of that existed. Just these new digital channels that I needed to feed and be able to take advantage of.
Right.
AI has really come a long way to help just an individual to really maximize their impact. And
Right.
that's really the advantage of AI is that for a good individual marketer, what they can do individually is significant.
Right.
And so, where a lot of folks are scared about how AI is taking over their jobs in marketing and what could happen, I think what it is that our structure of marketing departments is evolving. I think
Yes.
where we have specialized individual contributors who are able to take over highly specific campaigns or services or operations is what's going to happen rather than a very top down team of where we're getting creative projects handed down to different individuals to take over. It's going to be one man taking on a project. That individual is focused on that project and all the deliverables and taking advantage of all these tools. And management's helping to just see all of these projects link up. Something that you and I have talked about. How do we sync up across all these great deliverers of content moving in their own stream,
Yes.
but still working towards a common, goals and expectations. So that's what's happening, today. So, seeing it happen, having been through the pain of doing these kind of projects on my own to being able to do it now makes me see like there's an opportunity for us to really own more of our work.
Yes.
Yes, with fewer, resources, but more powerful tools that can do a lot more.
Yes. I love that. I think that's a great take to talk about. I think the whole I mean we all start off as a one man band, and I think it's even better than ever to be a one man band and to do marketing now and to kind of start your career and figure out how to use these tools. And I think Gen AI Consulting is going to do a great job in finding exactly how to navigate these tools and how to use these tools to make yourself better. And I think that's just great to talk about.
Yeah,
Um,
it's something that, especially in smaller businesses that are really, strapped in many ways for resources, these tool sets can be a very simple investment to really help them to expand their market. For example, going after customers they never thought they would be able to go after, just because now they have the means to market to them. It just really opens up those possibilities. I think what is very scary for a lot of business. They talk Gen AI and they think it's very heavily IT, very very technical. And I think only when you actually dive in and take advantage, you'll see that really you're able to do it. That you're able to take advantage of this, and there are resources to help, like Gen AI
yeah,
consulting. That's a critical thing that getting up and running might take a little bit of help, but once you do, you will see those benefits very quickly.
yes,
But it's understanding, how to get that all in place and how to make it part of your everyday that, a lot of people still have to learn.
yes, I agree, 100%. I agree. I think that I did want to ask you about that AI myth about is AI going to take over our jobs and everything, and you actually really you got through that as well. So I think a lot of good points to talk about there.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
and that's just it. It's a myth. I think that when you think about what the company is trying to do, there is a restructuring going on, and it's not always. And this happened again in the late '90s, early 2000s. There was major restructuring of how companies would really run because now you had the web, and how do you do business with the web, and who's going to be handling that?
yeah,
That's what's happening now. I think there's still a lot of questions. I think a lot of people are trying to understand that and figure out how to take advantage of that. All too often, such change is incredibly rapid
yeah,
and so can be very frightening.
Yep.
But what I think as individuals really dive into these tools, take advantage of it, what they quickly see is like, well, I can use this for this, and that really opens the door.
Yes.
But it just takes that bit of education, learning what these tools can do, using them for yourselves firsthand, that will help you to really see that there are more options. At the same time, as companies understand that, they have to be ready to, um, take advantage of these tools, take advantage of these people who are learning it, and really give them the support to really maximize this. Many are also hesitant to jump right into AI and deal with the cost or the ethics or any other issues that they might have before having the teams do this. And I think that there's plenty of opportunity to test these out, to take advantage of it without either breaking the bank or even really creating chaos in your business.
Right.
It's just being thoughtful about that. But there's opportunities here.
Right. 100%. I agree. I also want to kind of take the floor and then kind of switch things up. I want you to kind of ask me a couple questions as well from like my perspective. And
Sure. Definitely. I
yeah,
just thinking about this, as you're beginning your career and everything, and you talk about AI. Like I said, I've seen this as a long transition, but
yeah,
you're coming right into this. And so for me, when I started my career, I was coming right into digital and the web. How do you see it? For someone who's coming into marketing and starting these tools, it could also seem very frustrating, like that you're going to be replaced before you even had a chance to enter the market.
yes.
So I'm kind of, curious how you see it, how you feel about that.
Yes, pretty much is exactly what you said. It was my first kind of thought into it. I did start off doing a lot of digital marketing in like my kind of my later college years, and I think definitely understanding that AI from the beginning of when I was doing it to now, I've definitely changed my perspective on AI because when I started doing digital marketing, there wasn't no like um there wasn't no really kind of buzz about creating shorts and doing all this kind of stuff and really using AI to that potential. But then I feel like now as I've been like probably a year and a half in, 2 years into to creating content and making short form videos, I think that um, definitely my usage of AI has increased, but I definitely think my thinking has also changed. From the beginning, it was always about okay, now let me do this, create content. But now I'm kind of changing about okay, how do I use AI to do that? How do I use AI to do this? And it's kind of changed into how can I use AI to really streamline my work and the I feel like every marketer nowadays does have this kind of feeling that wow, like everything that you do as a marketer can be done by AI. But I think that the huge thing is first doing it without AI first. How would you do it without AI
Mhm.
first? That's how I took my Instagram caption because when I to be completely straightforward here, I started off doing my Instagram content completely through AI. I was doing my AI pictures, I was doing my AI captions. Those were going absolutely nowhere. Absolutely,
Mhm.
like nothing was going on. I wasn't really satisfied with the work that I was putting into. So I think that I had to really take a step back and look at, for example, Duolingo, like I did mention before, and these big companies that have incredible engagement on their Instagram, on their TikTok, on all their other social media platforms. Look at what they're doing, and all their captions are all things that I would be saying, things that I'll be talking about with my friends, or things that I'll be talking about like in a group of friends, and I kind of took that to heart, and I realized that you really can't get anywhere with with AI. AI is not gonna get you anywhere, but it'll save the time for you to kind of think outside the box and figure out ways to um really bring impact in your own way.
So digging a little bit deeper into that, when you realize that between what you were already doing with AI to kind of create these posts and topics, to finally breaking out and starting to actually incorporate more of your own direct creatives or what have you, what was that kind of aha moment besides just obviously the obvious data or whatever? What made you start to really think, I'm able to shape this for myself as well? Because what I think that led to is you then being able to improve on what AI was creating for you.
Yes,
right?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I
So,
think doing my research is the biggest thing.
mhm,
Figuring out what everybody else is doing. There's no shortage of media to consume, and there's no shortage of people that are trying new things. And obviously, it is one thing to know what you're best at, and building towards that. But I think that a lot of people are doing things like, I think the way to kind of bring your impact is to kind of use your own voice. And I did realize that kind of later on. But especially when it comes to social media content, that's the key. You can't no one can take your original content away from you, and no one can do it like you. So I think I realized that if I don't get my hands on into kind of using my own voice, my own face, my own, thoughts and perspectives, that it really wasn't gonna go anywhere, basically.
mhm.
Um,
Basically AI allowed you to better express your own already creative ideas and thoughts
yes,
and shape that and scale it up faster than anything if you just try to do it all on your own.
yes, definitely, definitely.
And I can see that. That's how I've seen it. That's my experience as well in using AI. Is that it's only when I actually start to really edit its output based on my criteria, based on what I see as reflective of myself, that I get the best creative elements that I could possibly want. So,
Exactly.
I think that is going to be a big factor of this is experimentation,
Yes.
right? AI really is about experimentation and taking advantage of being able to play around in these sandboxes,
Yes.
and just seeing what you can come up with, and then deciding what you like before you put anything out there. I mean, you have to be the harshest critic with
Yes.
anything you're developing with AI. There's no doubt about that. And I think if people are just assuming that AI is going to do it and it's going to be ready to go, fully baked, that is a mistake,
Yes.
right? It
100%.
requires a lot of experimentation, a lot of what you did before to go in and being able to play around with that until you figured out what you saw really worked.
Yes. And I think that's also like the biggest appeal for me as well. That's why I kind of I took a liking to this field very early on, and I think that it's because of that creative aspect, that aspect that I can kind of impact the way that I want to. And there's plenty of fields to get your voice out there to make that impact, and to do that for a company as well if that's what you choose. And I think now is a great time to really enhance that creativity, because everything else that takes so much time is going to be easily automated. And even though it is easy to kind of, go on there and kind of, take a YouTube video and clip it up and make some kind of AI caption, AI content, even though that is easy, I do believe, like, I mean, this is subjective to my own opinion, but I do believe that you're not going to find passion through that. I think the real passion comes from you making your own content, and you providing something that nobody else can, which is yourself to the content.
Completely agree. And I think that as again, this fear that a lot of people have about AI is assumption that it just will simply replace what they create, what they do, what have you. I think if anything, it really is best used when individuals use that to experiment and come up with something more creative than they thought they could. That they're able to really develop what they already have in mind. That's already their idea, and AI just allows them as a tool to shape that, to come up with different ways of thinking of it, of looking at it, rather than simply just producing this creative idea entirely for you. I don't
Yes,
see that happening as simply as marketing might say it does. I think that really it's going to always involve human intervention to really help get the best out of anything that AI creates.
yes, definitely, 100%. I agree.
Mhm.
Perfect, perfect. I think I also wanted to kind of ask you. So I wanted to ask you from a well, I've had one pretty much work experience from marketing, and I have like a little bit of experience but how to kind of climb the ladder, kind of like take my talents from being an intern to kind of overseeing a couple things. I really want to ask you about um how that kind of pipeline was for you, how you started off doing like you said, the blog posts, and then how you became that director of marketing, and how you increased that level of marketing knowledge, and how you started applying that to
Well,
higher
I
roles.
mean, I would say what you're doing right now is exactly an example of that. What I did in those early years is as digital marketing was really starting to evolve, as the web was becoming as expansive as it is, was that no one else was doing it. Traditional marketers were very much set in what they were doing, and so there were very few young marketers that were just getting their hands dirty, if you will, working in the first social media post, in the first blog post, in developing web content and web multimedia. There was not a lot of that at that time. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. It's just that what I think the advantage we're seeing is that AI, it has helped to simplify a lot of these functions that really anyone at any point in their career could really dive in and start to take advantage of these tools and help alter and change their career. So what I see the advantage is exactly what I did then is exactly what you're doing is the fact that you're involved in it now, you're using it, you're doing it where others may be slower to begin to take advantage of it. That right there is a huge opportunity. And because of the speed at which these tools are changing, the fact that you're in them on a regular basis means you're ahead of the curve. Because again, I see any kind of product release at the beginning of the year. By the end of the year, it is something completely different.
Yeah.
And the challenge is as each new model is released and each new platform is released helps to upend what is a most used tool. So again, you think about the early days of the web and some of the early social media sites that today are in the dustbin of web history. That
Yes.
is eventually what's going to start to happen with a lot of these AI tools. Which ones will
Yes.
really survive the glut? Which ones will stick around? Which will become the basis for a lot of what we use every day? So right now, all we can do is experiment. We're seeing which tools create value, but again, they might not all be here a year from now.
Yes.
That happened again 25 years ago. I'm sure that's going to happen again now as tools come and go. So, in terms of this career, what you're doing is exactly what I did, is just being as hands-on with each new digital tool. Try to learn as much of it, take advantage of it as best I can, experiment with it a lot. And then slowly that knowledge becomes iterative. Each tool set has a means to learn it very easily, and you just become a function of I know how to dive into Gen AI for marketing,
Yes.
right? At any
Perfect.
moment, whether it's video creation, whether it's content creation or creative, you already have those hands-on tool skills to help you get started any type of role you go into.
Yes. Perfect. That makes me feel very good about that too. I really appreciate that, and yeah, I think exactly what you said. It does take just the time and effort to get involved in things, and yeah, really understand. No, I really appreciate that insight from you.
So,
And
but I mean, and thinking about that, um, one of the things I'm curious as you're using Gen AI, do you figure that you will stay just in marketing doing that, or could you see yourself expanding into something else because of how much you're using AI and the possibilities you're getting to play around with?
yes, that's a great question. I think for me, um, I definitely well, Gen AI can be used for everything, but I do believe that as a marketer right now, my long-term goal for sure is to definitely kind of, make my own brand around myself, and build that to where I can freelance, and I can kind of offer my services to whoever needs them. And yeah, I think I definitely would need to know about Gen AI in the future. So I think that, all the research that I'm doing now into Gen AI, when I'm using it, when I'm using all the ChatGPT and whatnot, and the image creators and the video generators and all that, I think that's all only going to increase in the future. And I think that I can just, well, my long term goal is to kind of, even, well, obviously sustain in marketing, but I want to make sure that I build my own brand as well, and go from there. Kind of like exactly what you're doing with your freelancing and with your marketing uh thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, I mean, uh, uh, I think Gen AI really just opens doors.
yeah,
So you being, heavily involved with it right from the get-go only will give you that much more opportunity down the road. So, it's an impressive thing to see. As a marketer early in their career, um, and I never thought of this when I was in that position all those years ago, is that you're at the forefront of this. So 25 years from now, and you're on the flip side of this, it's going to be interesting to see what you think about it now and everything you've been through. But
yes,
um, but you're getting to get a taste of it right as it's coming alive and getting out there and people are learning it. So it's a time of discovery.
yes,
You get to be
definitely.
a part of that discovery. Why those of us old timers are just playing catch up. You guys are out there at the forefront, just trying to lead the edge, and we're learning from you. That's what happened 25 years ago. I was teaching a lot of more senior marketers how to take advantage of digital, and now
Mhm.
it's the reverse. You're showing me how to take advantage of Gen AI for marketing, and
Gotcha.
it's something incredibly powerful.
Yes, wholeheartedly agree. I love that.
Mhm.
So just to basically just to end it off here, I do. I think both of us. I want both of us to do. I can go ahead and start,
Yeah.
but I want to give like a final message to marketers out there that are using AI, that dream to use AI, that either don't know where to start or kind of want to understand about where the field is going to go. Like just a brief kind of advice.
Hmm.
And so I'll start off and I'll say like I think um after this podcast definitely gave me a lot of clarity on um especially like what to say in this case. I think that um like you said, the dot-com boom was one thing, and then now it's the AI boom. So if you do get started in AI right now, I think now would be genuinely one of the best times to get into marketing. Now would be one of the best times to understand how to use AI in marketing, which you can then leverage your skills. And I think if you do dream about putting your image out there and building your own content and creating your own personal brand, which goes beyond just working, that's going to benefit you later on in life as well. Um, I think it's a very great thing to get into, and I think just make sure to do your research and go experiment, try everything.
I'm gonna kick it off right with the last thing you said, is that I think the biggest thing here as a takeaway is this is an opportunity to experiment. Marketers inherently should be creative individuals. So be creative. Take advantage of these tool sets. Many of them are freely available. Just play. The only way to really learn and see what can be done is to go in there and play and experiment and just see what you can do. And you'll slowly start to see the options that make sense for you and what you do and what you want to do. That I think by far is the greatest thing about this time now, is that it's wide open for experimentation. It's wide open for anybody to play around in these tool sets. So do that, play, be creative, experiment, take advantage of it, and you'll see what the opportunities could be once you have a chance to kind of see what it can do for you.
Yes, perfect. I think we're gonna end right there. Thank you so much, Yemil, for today. I really
Thank
appreciate all the
you.
insight you've given. And that's it. That's a wrap for AI Talks episode 3. Make sure to check us out on our YouTube. Make sure to check us out on our Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. All the links will be all on our YouTube and our social media other platforms. And thank you so much for today's episode. And catch you in the next one.
Thank you all.